Let's throw that question to you wherever you're watching sports this morning on channels, television. We just love talking sports right here. The National Stadium in Surulere, Lagos has been abandoned since the year 2002. Should it be the focus for sports development in 2016? Let's invite you to be part of all what we're doing this morning. On Twitter, our channels _sports, and on Facebook, our channels -sports. We want you to be part of nation building. What should be the agenda for sports in 2016? The Minister for Youth and Sports, Solomon Dalong, is optimistic that with good funding and the means of a word alike, the right attitude for maintenance culture. Because you put up a structure, people should be able to take care of it. That's the feedback mechanism on Twitter with channels _sports, and on Facebook with channels -sports. You can also send us a message to sports this morning at channelstv.com. Join the discussion using the hashtag National Stadium. Yes, we're visiting the National Stadium again. Ministers have come and gone. They visit that place and nothing is done. Let's just hope that something will come out of this visit that the minister did. Let's also make use of the hashtag sports development. Everything we're talking about here, the objective is aimed towards developing sports in Nigeria. And look at the next one, hashtag grassroots. That's the bedrock. That's the foundation for sports development anywhere in the world. These guys have already started dissecting this man, Rafa Benitez. Let's still talk about Rafa using the hashtag Benitez, and of course the La Liga. There's so much to talk about, guys, and talking about the National Stadium, I was part of the team with the minister. We're going around the stadium, and Cecilia, there was actually a part of that stadium. It's someone's farmland. It's no joke. Someone's farmland, proper farmland.
You're not having a laugh.
I'm not.
Okay.
Proper farmland. The person goes there, harvests, plants. It's the National Stadium.
What do you expect? He saw a free land and nobody was making use of it. I needed to make some cash, so he had to do it. Wow. Man had to eat.
An
That's
incredible,
supposed to be the National Stadium.
Yeah, that's a big shame. And Austin, the minister's visit felt like an event, and that tells you there's a problem already when a minister visits a sports facility and it looks like an event. It shows you there's a problem, and hopefully Solomon Dalong, can really do something about the situation. It's just an eyesore, a total eyesore for Nigerian sports.
There's still so much talk about the National Stadium as we continue our look at sports development in Nigeria. Let's go to Cross River State, where the chairman of UNICEF Rovers, Maurice Enoch, is standing by to also give his views on how sports can be developed in Nigeria in 2016. Good morning, Maurice, and welcome to the show.
Morning, Austin. Happy New Year to you guys.
Okay, Happy New Year also. Cecilia Omorigbe is here, and of course, my colleague Tayo Salam. And we are talking, I know you're very passionate about grassroots, which is the foundation for every sports development, but I also know you have fond memories of the National Stadium in Lagos. The minister has visited that place, and he says it can come back. You think it's just another talk?
Well, Austin, it's a good thing that he's visiting. And like you said, I grew up in Lagos and went to King's College. And there we were taught all kinds of football, all kinds of sports. And we played squash, we played badminton, we played cricket, we played football. Every sport had its season. And then, of course, there was the famous Principals Cup where we used to go to the Onikon Stadium to play. And then when the National Stadium came, they also used to, have some of those national sports festivals there. I remember my first time of going there was when I went to watch the National Sports Festival, Enugu Rangers, the East Central were playing, and I watched Okala for the first time in the National Stadium. So that place was supposed to be the kind of headquarters for Nigeria's football, because there in the National Stadium you also have the National Institute for Sports, which is supposed to be the think tank for sports in Nigeria. And I wonder if that place is being put to the use in which it was expected to be put. Now, talking about the National Stadium, of course, we know the history of the National Stadium, area boys, and a lot of security breakdown, and cost a lot of things. That's why football was actually started going around Nigeria, which in a way was a good thing. But apart from the National Stadium, we have other stadia in Nigeria which are supposed to be controlled by the federal government. Like you have the UJS Stadium in Calabar, I think you have the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium, and I think you have the Bauchi Stadium. Now, these were supposed to also help to decentralize sports, but anytime that there was going to be a national competition, these stadia were used by the federal government, things like Koja, things like the Under-17, and these stadia were supposed to be maintained, I guess, as at that time by the federal government, so that there was also a time they used to have zonal sports festivals in Nigeria, so that if there was a festival in the South, there was a good facility that could be used. If there was something in the east of Nigeria, there was a good facility in the north and all that. But sadly enough, what we seem to see is that there seems to be no real policy for Nigerian sports. And I'll quickly maybe make you understand what I'm saying. What's the relationship between the minister and the commissioners for sports in the states? What do they meet? Do they talk? What's the grand program for sports in Nigeria? As the chairman of the Sports Commission under Governor Duke, I don't think we met with the minister up to 3 or 4 times to sit down and articulate a policy for Nigerian sports. And it's the same thing with football as well. Now, every team plays its own style. It's not done like that in countries where football is a culture. In Brazil, you know the kind of football to expect. All the clubs played. In Germany, all the clubs played. So that by the time the players of that country come together, in 2 or 3 days, they gel. That's why in Nigeria, we need like 1 month to be able to gel, 1 month to understand what is the system the coach is playing. So you see, like in a case like Germany, it's easy for the coaches to move. Joachim Löw took over from Klinsmann, and it was an easy, seamless succession. And they play the same type of football, of course, bearing in mind the kind of players that they have. So I think for the sports minister, yes, it's good to go to Lagos and look at the National Stadium, but look around the country. The facilities are left at the mercy of the states. And of course, we know now, when we're talking about money in Nigeria, sports is the last. In fact, most governors will tell you that, oh, I'm interested in paying salaries, I'm interested in doing education, I'm interested in doing this, which is correct, because they seem to see no real benefit from what sports brings out. So the Honorable Minister, I think, moving forward, we need to establish, and if the legislation needs to be done about it, establish a culture. Like, for example, in Nigeria, different parts of the country have different areas of specialization, comparative advantage. In the South, we should be doing swimming, which allows Egypt and other countries to beat Nigeria at the All-African Games times without number. In table tennis, we know what's going on in Cross River. We know what's going on in Lagos. Good thing that they're doing, but of course the coaches. And I tell you what, again, also sometimes there's a lot of politics in these things. Like, I know what it took for us to get the table tennis coach who produced the Cecilia and all those other girls in Cross River before he could be made a national coach. So I like the stance of the present minister. I think he stands for integrity. I think he stands for what is straight and upright, especially when you look at what he's trying to do with the NFF as well. So I think we should be able to sit down, and if in 4 years we can have a structured plan and program for Nigerian sports. For example, what's our game plan for swimming that brings the biggest medals? What's our game plan for weightlifting? A Cross River and a Akwa Ibom, we know they have areas of comparative interest. What's our game plan for elite sports? Like, for example, there should be an elite athletes program. I know when we were talking with Dan Gerem, and they were talking about building a multi-purpose facility at the Obudu Ranch, because they said that there the altitude was good, and there we could always take Nigerian athletes, even the footballers, to go and acclimatize there, so that by the time they go to the national competition, they'll be on the same wavelength with Kenyans. So what's happened to all this in football? What is the relationship between the NFF and the clubs? Like, for example, I run a club, we were in the pro. I don't know. The NFF never gave us any money. Is there assistance? And then finally, I think also the minister needs to sit down and rebrand Nigerian sports so that there's confidence between the investors and the sports industry in Nigeria, because government cannot do it alone. You see, one thing about it is that there's a loss of confidence in what the sports administrators, and with due respect to everybody, it's not just anybody, it's a whole national malaise. There's a loss of confidence from the multinationals and other sponsors with what we're doing with the money that we give to them. So I think we need to be able to sit back and understand these issues. And in handball, let me just quickly take that. Then we used to have the grasshoppers in Imo. What has happened to that? We also now look at cricket. I was listening to your program yesterday when you were talking with the Cricket Association president. I'm in charge of cricket in Cross River as well. And we tried, we put up the facility at the Hope Water Training Institution, and there was no help coming from the national. So we don't even have communication going on. So these are the things like basketball. Basketball, this is what we're told as sports administrator. Basketball is a pitch, a ball, and canvas. It's so cheap. There's no reason why we shouldn't have a serious basketball facility in every local government in Nigeria. It takes nothing. It's just a pitch, a basketball, a ring, a hoop, and then you're going to give the guys who come with their canvas. And that's what's happening in America. So there are parks everywhere where instead of these children going to smoke dope and do all the things they shouldn't be doing, they'll play basketball.
Okay.
And we can develop this as well.
Yeah.
So just in a nutshell, Austin, there's so much to talk about. But these are just my thoughts for this morning. I don't know what you think.
Maurice, you know what? I gave you the baton and you ran the whole race. And you did so well. Thank you so much for speaking to us this morning. Thank you.